Welcome to the Vibe Dialogue Podcast, a podcast for creative. I am super excited to continue my series that is interviewing people from Squid Games, the challenge season two. As many of you know, I was on that and I was part of the crew that saved everyone and made it possible for someone to be a millionaire. So today I'll be interviewing Player 089. And it's Michael. He's a musician. He's in the band Back to Black, a AC/DC tribute band. The whole band was actually on the show, or most of the band, besides the lead singer. And this gives a little insight to what he's doing musically, what actually really happened on the show for the counting. And I hope you enjoy the conversation. Welcome, everyone. This is the Vibe Dialogue Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ogle, and I have an amazing guest today. I have Michael Mroz from the Squid Games Challenge Season 2, Player 089. And this is a podcast for creatives, but we're also on my time and experience at Squid Games and also other people that I shared some community and moments with. So I'm hoping to get to know Michael a little bit deeper, but also discuss some of the things that were really cool that happened on the show that you might not have seen or heard because you've only got a little bit of insight into what Netflix tells you. So that's the kind of the point of this. How are you doing? And then Michael, who's your guest?
Well, first off, it's great to see you, buddy. I've been seeing you since I walked off that stage, and I got to thank you for being a guy with great character and voting to keep me in the game. That meant a lot to me. And I knew we bonded as soon as we met, and I knew we would be friends, and I couldn't wait to talk to you. You're one of the first people I wanted to talk to outside of the game. So I just had to get that out. And with me is Ms. Nikki Tyler here. She does all our social media. She's my secret weapon for Back in Black. You can be a super talented artist, but living in LA all those years, I know that's not what it takes. You have to be persistent. You got to work hard. And she's my secret weapon behind the scenes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited to connect with you too. And it was really cool because, honestly, I didn't feel like there was going to be a lot of artists on that show. I was so taken back by like how many actually creatives were actually on that show. And that was like cool to see. And I had no idea you guys were in a band together. Like I had no idea. But like obviously you guys had to click, you're hanging out, but like it just looked like you fit naturally together, like as
That was the goal.
yeah. So like, so
Well, let me speak about that. So when they cast the four of us, we're like, this is great. We get to go with our buddies, right? But then there's a big target on our back. If someone finds out that the four of us are all together, they're gonna say, get rid of the band guys right away.
Yeah.
But then when we arrived, they put us in the cohorts. What color cohort were you in?
gosh, I think I want to say I was gray. Oh man, I can't remember now. I should have. Yeah.
They put us all in the green cohorts, and then we got to meet all these great people. Like Kurt and Zoe were in there, and a lot of Perla and Jeff. And it just, when you're in those cohorts, you get to have lunch and dinner, and you spend time together.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like a big deal. It's like we met in a hotel, so you can go in the game and pretend
That was your cover.
Yeah.
That was your cover. You guys didn't need anything else. That was the cover.
We had hand signals, everything all worked out. We're like,
Well, they had a whole
yeah.
thing.
That's funny. Yeah. Like a lot of people don't realize that you're creating bonds and relationships with people way before you even get in the game. So like you already have this comfort zone of people, which is weird because you've only known them 2 days longer than everybody else,
Right.
but all of a sudden, like you have more of a comfort zone with this group potentially than you would other people, which is, it's just a funny thing that, a lot of people think you just met people, and which is not the case. That's so cool. So like, were you on the show? Like some people had like my personal thing was like I'm trying to raise money for my nonprofits. I'm trying to like expand communities, affect youth, and I do a lot of youth music education stuff. So mine was a community stewardship reason. Like was yours like more like, hey, let's get some eyes on the band, or is it like, hey, like I need to pay off this house, I'm broke because I'm a musician, or a little bit of both, or
It's just my drive to do different things and experiences. I was a big fan of reality shows, and I thought it would be an amazing experience. Of course, I thought if I ever got cast, it'd be great. For the band. Marketing a band these days, you have to do out of the box stuff. It's not the same old stuff that we grew up with. And I thought that'd be a great out of the box moment, and it turned out that it was. And also being a musician, Jesse, you can probably relate to this. Where's our 401k? Where's our retirement plan? So I was hoping, with the money, that would be my retirement, and I guarantee I can have some money, when I can't run across the stage anymore. So it was a little bit of everything.
Insurance policy almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like, so just for like people to get to know you a little bit better, rather than just player 089, like what instrument do you play?
My main instrument is guitar, and I play guitar in an AC/DC tribute band called Back in Black. We're going on our 25th year. To show your fans that we have credibility, my singer was actually auditioned by the real AC/DC in 2016 when Brian Johnson was having hearing problems. They were in the middle of the Rocker Bus tour, and all of a sudden I got a call from the CAA agency requesting my guy to come out to Atlanta where they had shut down. That was their last appearance. And they're like, hey, can he come out ASAP? The guys want to hear him sing. But it was my initiative. It was my spark that made that happen. I had some contacts and I reached out to them because I had read about Brian Johnson's problem. And son of a gun, they called me the next day. And there was no way I was going to miss out on that opportunity. So I joined him and we got to meet our heroes. It was, I can't even tell you, Jesse, how amazing that was. And I can't even tell you how loud they rehearse. Their rehearsal levels are, I can't describe the volume. Angus had 16 100-watt amps in this rehearsal room, all on 11. Okay. And I'll have to show you a picture of the room. It was the loudest sound I've ever heard in my life. When the text came out and said, hey, we're gonna do a little sound check with Back in Black, get some levels. He says, get ready. And we're like, oh yeah, come on. This is, we play an AC/DC band. We can handle this. It was so loud. You can feel the waves hitting your body. Angus and the guys have lost a lot of their hearing, right? And so they keep turning it up. And he likes feel that power of his guitar. Yeah. And it was the most incredible experience. And it was the loudest, I gotta say again, it's the loudest sound I've ever heard. His stage volume is ridiculous. But anyway, then I parlayed that into a movie. We did a documentary called My Stupid Tribute Band, and we released it in 2022, I think.
2022, yeah.
Nikki helped with, she's my director of photography and helped me put that together and film it. And it's been on all the streaming networks except for Netflix, and it's done really good. That darn thing has legs, and people are still watching it.
That's awesome. Wow, what a story. So do you play any other projects, or is this your sole?
Yeah, we have an original band that we call Stripwired, and it's heavily inspired by AC/DC. We wanted to make some music and market it to the AC/DC fans. That has done really well. We're very proud of that. I had a music school. I play drums. I play bass, a little bit of piano. I can't sing at all, but I try to play the hell out of that guitar.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So I guess like said, like there's all these musicians or in creatives in general, like Jeff
Right.
in film, there's like a lot of people there's like Viper's a DJ, Zeke's a hip hop, producer and obviously rapper. There's many people on the, Dylan, like there's lots of musicians involved. And so and there was musicians I met that were in the O's that I met. Oh, like, oh, I'm a musician, I'm in the O's. I'm like, so when they announced the challenge of the accounting challenge, how are you feeling when you heard that?
I knew I could do it right away. I did a accounting challenge like that when I was in 5th grade. I remembered. It's so funny that came right to my mind. And then I also heard the word mass elimination, and I didn't want to put my hands in anybody else. I didn't want to put my life in anybody else's hands. And so, little encouragement from Derek and Kurt and Steven. I don't remember the player numbers, but they said, get up there, Mike. And I was excited. I wasn't nervous. I was really confident. I know I can do that. And that's when I walked up and I met you for the first time because we didn't get to meet in the dorms at all. I mean, that's when all 456 people
Matt was like
first time.
Matt-
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all had such like a
And I gotta ask you, Jesse. This is I'm sorry. I have to know. Were you just standing there randomly, or did you work your way up there? How did you get up
No, I
front?
was like, dude, I'm a musician. I know this beat. My whole life is 60 beats per minute or 120. Like that's my entire life. So I've been teaching music for like 20 years. And I own a music school. I run a nonprofit music school, and so everything you do with the student is at 60 BPMs. That's the gold standard. And so
Right.
I have that tempo. That tempo is so ingrained in me. Like it's. And then I do a lot of remakes and beat production stuff, and I do a ton of stuff at 120, and I sing and play. My main instrument's bass. So I have I have a degree on bass, but I also have a degree in songwriting and music production. So I'm really at the production side and knowing beats per minute. And so, I was like, I do 60 beats per minute, like the back of my hand.
And bass is a great rhythm instrument. Yeah.
So that's why I was like, hey, and I mentioned, I don't know if you were there because we're like talking. It was like, I played this song. I played Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" all the time at 60. That's the song.
It was a brilliant idea, dude. And when you said that, I remembered that because I taught that song a billion times to my students.
But
Yeah.
how crazy is that y'all are halfway around the world, two people from different places in America, and you guys are bonded like almost instantly. You're both musicians, you both have music schools. Like the odds of that happening and y'all's instant connection and vibe, that's incredible. Just as a viewer. I wasn't there, obviously, but it was great.
I was really happy to see you up there when I walked up there. I thought the both of us doing it together would be very powerful and that we can keep ourselves in check.
And I think that the story that I wish they would have told, I'm sure the same way, is that like, our plan was very well executed. It was like, if we think like a band and we think, okay, if one person is just clapping, we're not going to create synergy and groove, but if we put two people together and we focus on just like internal groove, and we let this person count for us. So we have one role. We're just going to groove on this clapping for 7.5 minutes. And these people are counting for us. And they're going to also ensure in case this counter gets off that we have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then we say, hey, and then our plan is, because they don't tell you the whole rules in the TV, that we're going to stop 2 seconds short. So it seems like we messed up and stopped 2 seconds short when we really nailed that.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect.
And so when you think about that feat, I mean, I know some professional musicians, probably about 5 or 10% of the musicians I work on the most professional level, and I've been playing professionally forever, can keep perfect time for 7.5 minutes. There's some people that are just metronomic. But the majority of the musicians now, even the professionals, say 90 or 85%, aren't metronomic to that extent where it was perfect. And it was like that story to me was more compelling than all the drama that they told. But
they just went with the train wreck, Jesse.
6%.
It did not turn out anything like I thought it was. The two great things that we did that they didn't say is, we figured out the beats per minute with the "Wish You Were Here" song, and you get all the credit. And also having someone else count. So we didn't have to worry about keeping those numbers in our head. All we had to do is concentrate on the intervals, that 1 second interval. And it was just, they just missed. It was such an epic, incredible moment, and they just brushed it over, and I'm just heartbroken.
Everybody we've talked to, and even the guys in the band that they didn't participate in the actual counting challenge, they said it was the most beautiful, like incredible, intense, just stunning moment. And it's such a shame because I had, our other band guys telling me everything about it. You told me in depth about it. And I was like, oh, that's going to be a whole episode. That's got to be a whole episode.
Yeah.
And then when they released that 13-minute clip, we were like, that's not it. There's no way
that has to be a quick edit. Yeah.
Quick edit. That's a sneak peek. That's not a 13 minutes. We're like, wait,
But
what?
did your heart break when you saw that first 13 minutes?
Yeah, it really, it did,
Yeah.
I don't have a, like, I think you get used to, like, not in the music industry, like, having a big ego actually really doesn't get you that far.
No,
So
no.
it's like you have to be humble. And so, like, as humble as I can, it's like, hey, I get it. This is their art, this is their creativity. They're
Right.
to choose and see how they want to do with it. But
Right.
like,
Right.
but so it was heartbreaking. But like, I was trying to just shed, okay, that's like, that story is not going to be told. It's up to us to tell the story if we want to.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I'm really sad it didn't get told. I actually think it would have, like, actually even helped us in our careers even more.
Yes.
They would have said
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But then it goes to show you that, like, they don't want to tell a heartwarming story,
No.
or like, it's even more than heartwarming. It's like almost like it's a humanistic overcoming and feat that, like,
Yeah.
it's like a talent that happened, that was displayed.
Right.
They
It's our talent that saved all those people, and they didn't even acknowledge you at all. It breaks my heart, and that's why it's fired me up, Jesse. We got to get this story out to everybody, because you're right. We took a chance of being humiliated and going up there, and embarrassing ourselves, but you and I both freaking stood up, and we took that chance, and we did it together, and we nailed it. We
Yeah.
came up with an amazing plan, and we nailed it.
nailed
And
it.
it's bam.
And how bad that would have looked if you would have been like a musician on national TV and just like we're
Just failed.
super off. Like,
Yeah.
it would have
Yeah.
looked so bad. You would,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
a musician. Oh, it would have looked really bad. So, like, it was a big risk to take. I mean, obviously, like, if you have to take the risk. There's no, like, I wouldn't even think twice. But like, if you, in hindsight, it would have looked really bad if we wouldn't have done it. So yeah, and moving on, and I'm sure, like, you'll probably have some questions too, but like, moving on, just once that was done, I don't know about you, but I feel like we just won the Super Bowl. How'd you feel?
We said that in our podcast times 1,000.
That was, yeah.
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 What a feeling when that room erupted, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Yeah.
like insane. Like, man, what a high. And it's all about highs and lows. And then, obviously, I would think, and this is how I felt, that, like, anyone that was involved in that circle that got everyone there, meaning that whole half of people, all the X's had a chance to win $4.56 million
Right.
because of us.
Of our talent. Yeah.
Because of us, you would think that we would be in good graces with them.
You would think.
And then as soon as you get a chance to vote someone off, people are like, you're out of there. So it's like, it's interesting how it shows humanity. And in my thought, I was like, why do I need to vote someone out when I can let the game just take someone out? Like, that's the whole point. The game will take someone out anyways. So all those little things were like, I'll just vote someone out and get like one or two people gone. What's it matter? The
Right.
game's gonna do it anyways. Like,
Show some character. Yeah. Show some character. Yeah.
and all those people, why would you vote any one of those people back in the game? They have the second chance vote, which I think, has ended now. But why would you ever vote any one of those people back in the game that didn't have the character just to have like,
Right.
what?
Yeah. And my hat's off to you, buddy. I knew when you came up to it was funny when I was up there. We're skipping ahead a little bit. When I saw people walking down towards me, and
Like for your elimination.
it was such a beating because I was up there for seemed like 3-4 hours. But I can tell when the first couple of steps if they were going to vote X or O.
Yeah.
It's just I could just tell, by their attitude and the way they looked, if they gave me eye contact or if they're looking down or they're sashaying, like some of those guys want to punch them. But I can tell when you were walking up, I'm like, I knew Jesse was going to give me a circle. We bonded. We bonded. We're buddies. Yeah, I could tell character. Yeah.
Okay, so this one's a little bit. This is an interesting question. Like, do you feel like you have any trauma from the games? Like, do you revisit situations or like, wow, what I could have, should have, or do you have any like moments like you're waking up at night, you're losing sleep over it, like, or is everything like past and you're, you've dealt with everything and you're, it's just a game and you've chalked it up to that. How are you emotionally over that?
That's a great question, and I want to run that back to you too. But I know all the guys in the band have said that. I've got some regrets about throwing that stupid rock. But I was sleeping on a concrete floor for 12 hours before that, freezing my ass off. So I was lack of sleep, and I'm like, I can't blame myself for that. Um, uh, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I would have spoke up when I was on the stage in that elimination and addressed everybody and said, "Hey, please, I don't want to go home yet. Please consider that, I got you here." Um, I wish I maybe would have said something, but nothing, Jesse, that has kept me up at night. It's just that's how it worked out. How about you? Did you have any regrets?
Yeah, I just a moment when I got out because it was like a ball was just thrown too short, and I'm like, I had no chance to get it. Like
Right.
I've run through that situation a few times many times in my head, and not even wanting to do that, and be like, well, if we would have done that, we would have done that, we would have strategized that way, it would have never happened. And it's weird how like I feel like I have a really strong constitution and I'm not a lot rattles me. I'm just a solid human. In just most cases, I'm just keep my composure. And I'm like, man, that really kind of like rattled me. And it's like weird when that happens to you because I don't feel like that happens a lot. So, but I think that I mean, other than that, like, no, I mean, it's just it's kind of the like the ending moment of like, that's the one I relive the most, rather than like the one awesome moment. But it's I think why is because, I was in good favor with everyone. I didn't have any drama with anyone, and I did also help people get there, so I wasn't there was no target on me or anything, but, I didn't make many cuts in the show because of that,
Yeah, you didn't give 'em any drama. You didn't give 'em any bullshit.
I
Yeah,
didn't give
good for
many
you. Yeah,
yeah.
good for you. Yeah, that's why we like you.
Great human.
Yeah, it's like, man, I guess, it's like, guys, you could have played into it a little bit, but that's just not me. So, but yeah, there's
Romero, my rhythm guitar player, he did the catch, and I wanted to ask you when they were like getting spots. He said he jumped into one of the earlier spots,
The closer
and
spots.
then he gave that up and went to the back because he figured maybe the balls would be gone by then. So when you entered that room and you were getting ready to choose the spots, tell me about how you got your spot selection, and tell me how people were feeling about that twin when he said, "Oh, I deserve the first spot because I got us here," when it was really your talent in that room.
Um, I wasn't there because each group decided they had the moment on their own in there, so they didn't show that.
Yeah, very
The
much.
groups were
Oh,
so
okay.
every group had their own like time to strategize for that.
Oh, right. Okay.
Our strategy was basically like kind of how they told it. Viper, they made like Viper kind of be like the lead of that, but I was actually heavily involved in that strategy. But the idea was like, hey, we had two people with disadvantages in our group. Let's help them out, put them in the front. People may not want to throw to them, but if they do get thrown to, they'll probably be safe. So we were looking out for the team in
Hmm.
that sense. And we were like, hey, let's put our best catchers in the back. Like I played football, I can catch decently, I'm like, yeah, like you throw it to me, I'll catch it. So I was confident in that, but it was an uncatchable ball. So I didn't
Yeah. Who
proceed.
knew so many people couldn't throw a catch, right?
Gonna say that I was like
Yeah.
watching it back. I'm like, it was amazing how many people don't know how to throw a ball and don't know how to catch a ball just from. But I mean, again, it's a high stress situation. You don't know what you're gonna be like. It's not like a million different things going on in your head during that. So
Totally. Yeah. I mean, and so it is, right? So it is. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, and that's part of the game. And I do love games. And that's one of the reasons why I went on there. Cause I just like games. But I like games that are like, where you're more in control and some of these games where you're completely out of control. And that's what makes it interesting, right? For the viewers is like, there's a bunch of things that are left to chance and then there's drama where you just, you can vote someone out so it's not just games. It's also a social, like, it's we're gonna, this is a way to like do a social study on the human genome, but, well, so, okay, so a couple last things. Uh, so as far as like music, are you guys on a tour? Are you where are you based out of? Are you based out of Texas?
Yeah, we're based in Dallas here. Yeah, we're getting we just put a deal together with Live Nation. I've got a great relationship with the folks here, and I went over and told them about what happened with the Squid Game, and they were really excited about it. And we're doing like a 4 show test this January with all our Texas venues.
Mhm.
We're gonna do we're gonna add some squid fun to the show. We're a totally dedicated AC/DC tribute band. The reason why we've been doing this 25 years, we're so successful, is because we really go all out and pay attention to the detail. And the fans can absolutely recognize that right away. And plus, I got really talented guys in the band. That always
That
helps.
helps.
But yeah, so I met with Live Nation, and we're gonna like post guards, around the venue before doors. And then we're gonna do a couple of things on stage with the Squid Game elements to just kind of keep it kind of fun. We got a cool way to end the show now, and we're hoping that'll take off. And we want to expand that to go across the country. If it doesn't happen, that's okay, because I do all the band bookings. I've got all the great relationships. It's pretty easy to book a band when you're really good. That helps a lot. So if the Live Nation thing doesn't work out, we're still going to hit it. We usually do about 100 shows a year. We're weekend warriors. Friday and Saturday is the demand, so it doesn't make sense for us to really go play on a Monday night in Omaha or something like that. Because people just don't come out for that.
Yeah.
So we just do it on the weekends, and it's a blast.
So much
Yeah.
fun.
Awesome. So do you work a day job?
No, I get to do this full time.
So you want to talk about the music school and with COVID? Because Jessica might be able to relate to that too.
Yeah, for sure. But right now, I don't do a day job. During the week, I'm working on contracts and booking shows, and then then we hit the road on the weekends. But yeah, like you, I had a music school here for 16 years, and I really enjoyed it. But unfortunately, when COVID hit in 2020, I asked my landlord, for some relief, because my kids weren't coming. Nobody wanted to come out, and the landlord said, "Well, actually, your contract expired. We need to raise your rent now." And I said, "You're going to raise my rent during COVID? You know, I don't even know if I'm going to have 10 students this month." And so I had to end that relationship and end the school. But it forced me to put all my eggs in the back in black finally. And when I did that, the band just excelled. And now
It's been
we're
beneficial.
yeah, we're making a great living at it. And I'm doing what I love, Jesse. I get to play music. I get to be Angus Young every weekend.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, when COVID hit, it was a really big deal, for anyone that was involved in music. Obviously, for gigs, if you were a music teacher, there was all of a sudden you went
Yeah.
remote. The experience wasn't
Yeah.
as quality. You're starting to teach on Zoom. You can't play with the student anymore.
It's too hard to do it over Zoom, I think.
Yeah, it's monkey see, monkey do, Simon Says
Right.
kind of thing. There's no organic element to it. And for me in the music school, I run a music school in Durango called I Am Music. And then we also serve school programs. So we were like teaching all these like high school programs online. But luckily, because we were a nonprofit, there was like this grant relief money, and that got us through. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. We actually had one of our best years financially on COVID because of the grant relief fund that came out. But that only lasted for like a year, right? And then it was like, well, here you go. And there was no like rebound money, like, hey, we understand we subsidized you for some money like through that COVID, but there was no like, now how do you rebrand your business afterwards? So you spend all this money on doing like Zoom, getting interfaces and all this stuff, getting them
Right.
online platforms. And you're like, well, but we don't need that anymore. And so then you have to restructure. And so it was like, for every band, I mean, I had a really successful like 7-piece like neo soul jazz funk group that I was touring with a lot. And that band, just basically had to shut down. Our singer moved to New Orleans. And so I had to start doing like this duo project, and it's taken the name New Bass Theory. And like I was kicking all the electronic beats and stuff because like I could only play with one or two people, so I started like doing all the electronic production so I could just play a show. So started like doing tracking stuff, and it ended up being a good thing in the long run, but like just because I got really good at doing electronic music production and things like that. But like it was like I was forced to be a different artist than I normally would be, which and like we talk about like absolute need of funding. I could have totally took that $4.56 million and like yeah, that would have been amazing. Like you said, there's no retirement for artists.
Right.
And then we can only do this for so long. Like,
Right.
like it's not easy to be on the road traveling in hours in the van. If we live in the West or you live in Texas, things are far
Right.
apart. You need to have vehicles, infrastructure, all this stuff. And so like being an artist is challenging, and it's more challenging than it ever has been ever,
Absolutely.
in many ways, because our pay is the lowest it's ever been, and there's
Right.
no record sales. I mean, there is some record sales, but there's no CD or physical sales.
Right.
They've diminished. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I'm really sad to hear that about your music school, because like that's just tragic,
How rewarding is that though, to teach the kids, and it was so cool because I could see, some kids, they would sit down, they couldn't even sit in the chair, and I could barely count to four. But there's some guys in the first two lessons, I can tell they're going to be better than me in 6 months, and it was so interesting to see these people come in and some got some attitudes, and
Brandon?
what's that?
Talking about Brandon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and then Brandon, one of my drum students, and then he became a teacher. He's now playing with the Offspring. He's their drummer, and he's my probably greatest success story, and a great kid. Yeah.
Sweet. That's amazing. Everyone, thank you so much for joining in. Me and Mike today from the podcast, and Nikki too. Thank you for joining. This is the Vibe Dialogue podcast, and the most important thing I want to do is I want to, if people want to find you, Mike, how can they reach out? What's the best way for people to contact you? Is it the band? Is it your original project? Maybe give me some handles or ways for people to reach out.
Well, that's why I have my social media person here.
You can find us on Facebook. The band is called Back in Black. On Facebook, it's Back in Black Dallas. On Instagram, it's at Real Back in Black. And then Mike's personal Instagram is at Mroz, Mroz, Michael. But the best way to keep up with this is our Facebook page for sure.
Yeah.
What about the original project? I'm really curious about that too. How can people find that?
It's also on Instagram. It's at Stripwired. And we do have a Facebook page as well. It's Stripwired. So
Awesome. Great.
Okay.
That's awesome. And that's all that stuff's on Spotify or
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in again. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll see you again next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. That was a great conversation we had with Michael from Squid Games The Season Challenge 2. I thought it was really genuine how he is such a good person, and how important it is to really tell the true story behind things. And that's always a fun thing for everyone. So if you can, like and subscribe to this podcast, follow on all social medias. It really goes a long ways. And until then, we'll see you next time.